At the table, if it's love,
I'll hasten to his throne. Some storm clouds rise in my life. I'll remember, yes, and when tears bring me down, I will remember. Yes. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Harvest Conversations. You all come on in and share and post and tag everybody. Call your mama and them because we have the legendary Mr. Richard Smallwood with us tonight. I am so elated. I'm trying to calm down and keep myself together because Mr. Smallwood is in the house tonight. He is a legend in gospel music. He's a musician, he's a songwriter, he's a pianist, he's a composer, y'all. He's an 8-time Grammy nominated, Stellar Award and Dove Award winner, with over, I would say, 40 years, probably more in the industry. He enjoys widespread popularity and influence all over the globe. He's worked with legends, including Whitney Houston. We were playing one of the songs just before we came in. Destiny's Child, Kelly Price. The list is extensive and endless. Um, He's even recorded with the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. She recorded one of his hits of Faithful on her latest CD just before she passed away. We know him best for the timeless songs such as Total Praise, Center of My Joy, I Love the Lord, and the Anthem of Praise. And the list goes just on and on. Why don't y'all help me welcome Mr. Richard Smallwood? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited that you are here. Can you tell I'm excited?
Well, actually, I'm excited too. You made me excited.
I'm excited. First of all, because you and I are Facebook friends in my head. So
Okay.
in my head, we're friends. And I know that last year you and I connected. I wanted to, I heard all the wonderful things that you were doing last year. The Stellars was actually honoring you last year, and you were hosting a workshop, and you were doing so many things last year. So we wanted to try to get this happening last year. And I inboxed you messaged you on Facebook, and I asked you, and I had my phone in my hand, and you responded. Not only did you respond, you responded quickly. And and I think I lost, my heart started beating. And I said, I was dropping my phone. I couldn't believe that, number one, that you responded, and then you responded so quickly. And you've always been so kind and so approachable. And I just wanted everyone to know that you really, really are a kind and sweet person, and you're very engaging with your Facebook friends and family. I see you texting and posting people in the comments and saying things back and forth, and we really appreciate that. We really, really appreciate that. So welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Welcome. We wanted to talk to you today. It's a lot going on. But we wanted to bring you on because you've been so influential, and you're an advocate for mental health and mental wellness, I should say. And in your book, Total Praise, the autobiography, you were very transparent about your journey, and you're very transparent about your upbringing and your struggles. You mentioned that you were having or used to have anxiety attacks, and you had bouts with depression. So first of all, we want to know how you're doing.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, thank God. I'm doing good. Certainly, this quarantine has been challenging. I found out that even if you don't have, situation or issues with depression or something like this will bring it out.
Wow.
Because this is something that I think none of us have ever experienced in our lifetime.
No, not at all.
I think it's very important as we are going through this pandemic that we take care of our mental health as well, because this is a trying time in more than one way.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. No one has gone this way before.
No.
And it's so much happening. It's so much sadness now.
Yes.
Sadness is loss. People are losing loved ones, and nothing is normal, as we would know it. And so we need to know how to work on that and deal with that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think it's important. I mean, first of all, I think our prayer life has to be well and alive in terms of asking God to help us through this thing. But at the same time, if you need extra help, this is the time to, everybody's Zooming, doctors are Zooming, therapists are Zooming,
Yeah.
You don't have to go out the house if you don't want to, but, therapy or even psychiatrist if you need it. that because this is a hard time. This is a hard time. And people seem they're leaving so fast. They're leaving so fast. And a lot of it is not even, the whole Corona thing. We've lost a lot of people through Corona, but it seems like people are just leaving. The tragedy of Chadwick Boseman, I'm still reeling from that. A man who was so gifted and had such a wonderful gift. So this is the time to stay close to God, and if you need some extra help, call for it.
Yeah. It's overwhelming. I would say at least 2020 has been an overwhelming year. And with all of the Holy Ghost, it's still been an overwhelming year. But I want people to look, have a scope into your journey, and so take us back to when you realized that there was a problem and something wasn't quite right, or you thought you needed help.
Well, I've been that way ever since I can remember. I didn't know that it was anxiety. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was normal. I remember 5 years old, 6 years old, having what we would call now, anxiety attacks. My mother used to tell me she could hear me grinding my teeth in her room, which was down the hallway.
Really?
So, yeah, and I was no more than 6 or 7. But she didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what it was either. And it wasn't really until I was grown. My mother used to say, you're the moodiest child I've ever seen in my life, but you're musicians, so probably that's why, and that kind of thing. But I didn't realize, I'm not sure exactly when the depression started. It gradually sort of creeped up on me, but the anxiety has always been there. But I wasn't diagnosed until, I think it was 99. And then if you read my book, you'll find out that I found out in 99 that Smallwood was not my father. And I grew up all my life thinking this sort of physically abusive man was actually my father. And that sent me running for help because, everything you thought you were, you're not. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know what to do with it. So we had one of our vision members to pass from cancer, and it was a young lady who came in and ministered to us in rehearsal. She was a therapist. I called her when I found it out, and that's how I started my therapy journey. And during the therapy journey, she discovered that I had clinical depression as well as anxiety. So she started treating me for that. Probably about maybe 2004, something like that, but it's been a journey. And when I started writing my autobiography, I was going to write about music, and my manager said, I didn't tell too many people about the depression, because it's something that has such a bad stigma in the African American community and in the African American church. And I was sort of ashamed of it. And my manager said, are you going to talk about, your mental health issues? And I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody that. And he said, Richard, if you were open and really were transparent with it, you would help so many people. So I just erased the whole plan of direction that I thought I was going to go with the book, and just started the beginning of my great-great-grandparents that came on up through the depression, through all the family secrets that I didn't know about. I had brothers I didn't know about, all kinds of things like that. Because a lot of times people see you, they see your success, but they don't know your struggle.
Yes.
So I wanted to use the platform that God gave me to really talk about mental health, because it's something, we'll go to the regular doctor, in a minute, but when we have mental health problems, we are reluctant to go to see about it because of what people think, because of the stigma, all of that thing. So I've been using my platform. I've been doing, before the pandemic, I was doing workshops on mental health and things of that nature. And so it's been a blessing. It's a place that I never thought I would go. you know, but God has a wonderful plan. And I believe I have what I deal with so that I can help others.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do the show and why I thought it was so important to talk to you, because of who you are and the stigma and the shame that's centered around mental health. And I
Yeah.
wanted people to know that they're not alone. So help me in describing what it looked like, because you said that you didn't know that's what it was. So what did it look like? How did you feel? What was the symptom?
Well, when I was a kid, I was anxious about everything, just nervous. I worried about stuff. As long as I was with my mama, I was fine. Like my anchor. But I mean, even I had problems with it through school, all kinds of things, just very, very anxious and very, I would over worry about stuff. I remember when I was in junior high school, it got so bad that I didn't want to go to school, and I would wake up and my stomach would be just hurting, and I'd be throwing up. And as soon as my mother said, "Okay, baby, I'm not going to send you to school today," it would go away.
Wow.
You know? And I was reading an article not long ago about children who have anxiety, and every symptom they talked about, you know, I had when I was a kid.
Really?
Now the depression, I'm not sure when it came on. It just started very gradually, just being very, very unhappy, very, very unhappy, and there was no tangible reason that I could come up with why I was unhappy. I just was unhappy. You know, got to the point where you don't want to get out of bed. You know, you cut yourself off from everybody. You don't answer the phone. It just got worse and worse and worse. You know? And so I went on medication in 2000, probably around 2004, maybe something like that, which worked very well. Everybody doesn't have to go on medication, but mine was. You have to understand that my grandfather, my mother's father, took his life before I was born. So we used to think that he had depression. I didn't know him, but from the things that my mother said. So it was part genetic, and of course I came up in an environment that was difficult. My stepfather could be pretty physically abusive, and I think that added to it. My therapist told me one time that depression is anger turned inward. And, you know, I remember all the times when you would beat me for nothing, and I would be so angry. But, you know, you can talk about your parents and say anything. So I just go in my room and shut the door and just, you know, I would get lost in the music. I turn on the music, and that would help, you know, to calm me. But I was diagnosed basically 99, 2000, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay.
And, what I did, I started feeling so much better. Around 2010, I was like, I don't need this medication no more. So I got off of it.
So you were actually on medication?
Yes, I was on medication, and I got off of it because I was feeling so good. Wrong thing to do. If you have to go on medication, unless your doctor tells you to get off, stay on it. And when I got off of it, I'd been on it for about 5 or 6 years, so it built up in my system. But little by little, in increments, it started to wear off. And little by little, the depression started coming back. And this time, it came back with a vengeance. I would watch YouTube videos of people committing suicide and, you know, hanging, shooting themselves, that kind of thing. And I just became fascinated and really wanted to take my life. I was tired of dealing with it. And I was telling, in my book, I talk about how I typed on my computer, because if I was going to do it, I didn't want to do it where I would be maimed or still alive. So I typed on my computer, how can you painlessly commit suicide? And a number came up on the screen and said, call the suicide hotline immediately.
Wow.
All that, it sort of broke me out of where I was, and I ran the phone. I called my therapist crying because I didn't talk to her. I didn't talk to nobody.
Wow.
And I'd say it's back, and it's back really bad. She said, "Get to your doctor now. Get to your doctor now." So I called my doctor. I had somebody to take me the next morning, and that was my journey back to health. That's been about 3.5 years ago. And I got back on the medication. I'm doing good now, doing really, really good. Therapy is something that I do just like when I get a physical every year. It's something that's very important to me. But what it did, it explained to me why I had the issues that I had. So much that we go through starts with the childhood. I mean, that's the basis of most of the stuff that we deal with. And the problem is that if it's really something that is sort of earth-shattering, it doesn't get better if you don't deal with it. The older you get, the worse it gets. And therapy really helped me to look at it, to examine it, and to find out ways to get beyond it. And not to let it control me or not let it, dictate who I was or what I did. So therapy is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. But it took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
But once I got there, I was like, "Thank you, God, because this is where I need to be." But I'm really doing good. I'm doing good. I'm grateful to God for his keeping me. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. I know that. I know he's kept me, and I'm grateful for that. I wouldn't want to be God. I want to be here.
Yes. We need you. We need you here, Mr. Smallwood. We need you here. But let's talk about a little bit about the shame of that, because I see, the struggle in the African American community. It is it's seen as like a weakness to need help,
Yes.
and I guess fairness. We've been told that we're strong people and we can do anything and we can take on anything, and it's all about the struggle, right?
Right.
It's all about the struggle. And so sometimes we think the harshness of life is part of the struggle, but it's almost so much that we can handle as human beings.
Absolutely.
as human beings. So why do you think, can we talk a little bit about that, the African American community and the shame
Well,
that happens?
I think it's something that has been sort of a stigma and sort of shameful to us as a people. I remember, way back in the day, and even before I was born, if somebody had some mental issues, in your family, you sort of locked them away in the attic, you wouldn't let them out and that kind of stuff. Because,
we were told that they went away. They went down south.
Yeah, they went down south somewhere, right? Sometimes they would send them down south, And I think the church, the mistake has been for a lot of people, pray it away. Okay, we're gonna come up here and we're gonna pray for you, and when you leave this altar, you're gonna be fine. Well, yes, God is a healer. He's a healer if all else has failed, but he is people on this earth who minister to us, like medical doctors, like mental health therapists and mental health workers, to help us in this situation. So it's nothing to be ashamed of, but I think it's getting better because it's becoming so prevalent. I mean, we've lost pastors, we've lost celebrities like Robin Williams, and so many people. And it doesn't only prey on them, but it really seems to prey on people who create it. Always have.
Yeah.
I went to school with Donny Hathaway, and I was talking to a friend of his who used to work with him after he graduated. And I was like, when did Donnie's problem start? Because when he was in school, I never saw it. And his friend said, I think it started with the pressure. It was already there, but with the pressure of the music business. And then he was brought up to that if you sung anything else other than Christian music or gospel music, he was going to hell. So still battling singing secular music and what his grandmother told him, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
lot of things, and there are things that will trigger those issues that you had. Sometimes they sort of lie dormant, and there are things that will trigger it. You know, so I'm glad that it seems to be that we're being more vocal with it now, since we see it so much on the internet and we see it, you know, on the television, because it's nothing wrong with getting help. It's nothing wrong with getting help. If you have diabetes, you know, if you have hypertension, you don't get help. You don't get help. You gotta get pills or whatever you need to do to, you know, to get through it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your mental.
Yeah. And our brain and our mind, we have to think of that, right? Like our brain is an organ, right?
Absolutely.
and so when our other organs have ailments, we take care of them. And so your brain could be overwhelmed.
Exactly.
And you need to see, someone, to help you with that and take care of that, so that you can be well, and so that you can understand the patterns, as you say, the triggers, and all of that. But I also see it's getting better. I do see that because a lot of times they're Black African American therapists. There are a lot more therapists, and I think people feel more comfortable talking to someone like themselves, someone that would know their experience. We have Christian therapists now who would understand that conflict that we would have with what the church says and what our mind is saying, and the struggle of that, and how to work all of that out. And so
I'm blessed to have a therapist. She is a licensed therapist. She's a psychiatric nurse, and she's an ordained minister.
Wow.
So, you know, because what you really do, you're just not treating the mind, you're treating the entire being. You're treating the spirit, the mind, the body.
Yes.
You know? So sometimes you can't find that combination, but it's very important that you understand that you're treating this more than the mind, because it's a spiritual thing too as well. You know?
Yes, it is.
So, you know, and one of the things that therapy taught me was knowing my triggers.
Okay.
So I stay away from stuff. Like I don't watch the news, because the news triggers me. And I'm not gonna go into why it triggers me, but you can read my mind. But with all the stuff that's going on in our government, as well as the racism, the police brutality, that's just, it really hurts me to see that. And at one point I was looking at every video where, you know, someone was being killed by a policeman, being shot or something like that. And after a while I said, you know what? This is triggering me.
Yes.
So I just got to turn this off. I know it exists, and thank God for my phone. If there's anything that's really, really huge, the headlines will come up on my phone, and I can go and look at it. But to sit and watch CNN all day long and on MSNBC, I can't do it. It's just too much. The political stuff, the racism has really gotten to me. And it's nothing new, but it seems like there is a catalyst, who shall remain nameless, that has made it seem like it's okay. So these people are coming out to woodwork, and it's just awful. And I came up in the 50s and the 60s, so I remember, you know, Dr. King and the civil rights movement. I was in college when the civil rights movement was at its height. But because I was in DC, I never really, it didn't seem to affect me then like it does now. It just could be overwhelming. So I know what my triggers are, and you know, I just sort of stay away from it and try to do what I can to, you know, to help in my way in terms of music or whatever. But we're living in some challenging times.
Yeah.
We're living in some challenging times. We never needed God before, we need Him now. And if we never needed mental health before, we need it now. And so I just admonish everybody to, if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out, because you don't have to live the way you're living. There is hope. There is a brighter kind of existence than what you're living in.
Yeah. And you mentioned your circle, to have, good people around
Yeah.
you
Yes.
is very, very important. And
Very.
what would you say, like, about Kanye West right now? Like, what would you say to his circle? What?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, it's like you can, as a friend of someone who has major mental issues, which I definitely believe he does. Um, you can suggest getting help, but if that person doesn't want to get help, you can't make them get help. But I think the only thing you have to be there for them, even when it's hard.
Mhm.
And I think you have to have like my circle that I talk to is very, very small. Everybody knows of my struggle with mental health because of the book, but the people that I talk to are like my family and a very close circle of friends, um, because you need that sounding board, when you're not feeling good, you know, listen, I'm not having a good day. Well, what's wrong? I don't know.
Right.
It's not a good day. And somebody who can just listen, because nobody really has the answer to it, but you need somebody who can listen and encourage you. So that kind of small group that you're not ashamed to be yourself and to really say what's going on with you.
Yeah.
That's important to have that
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
I hope that Kanye has that circle, that are not yes men or yes women, but people who say, okay, Kanye, listen, so and so and so and so and so, put it in.
Yeah.
I really think he really needs to get help. And
Yeah.
he's been on medication, he's not taking it,
Hmm.
and it's just not good. My heart goes out to him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. It's important to have the right people around you. As you said, like the ones that could even sometimes you have to be creative, right? You have to
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
trick you gotta
absolutely.
trick the person a little bit and
Yeah,
make things difficult,
right.
for them. He's not having a good time. Maybe it's not a good time to go out. Let's just eat
Yeah,
at home,
yeah,
and
yeah.
stay
Have to
indoors.
be you have to be subtle. When I was still living in DC, one of my best friends lived around the corner from me, and we've been going to the same church for years and years and years, and he knew about it. And so when I would shut down, I wouldn't answer the phone. I would answer texts, and so I'd hear this knock on my door. Knock, 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 knock. I was like, who is this? And I'd go and he'd be him. He was like, when I was in grad school, when I was in divinity school, I got addicted to Mountain Dew. I mean, because they help you stay awake for class. I had a late night class and they helped me stay awake. So that class, I would get me a Mountain Dew to stay awake and a bag of chili cheese Fritos. So he knocked on the door and said, "Well, I knew he's being slick." He was like, 7-Eleven had a sale on chili cheese Fritos and Mountain Dew. So I thought I'd bring you some. It's like, can I come in? I was like, yeah, come on, because he
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
depending on me because he
Right.
knew what was going on. So sometimes you have to be subtle. All the time you can say, "What's wrong with you?" You just
Right, right, right.
and not say, "Well, I'm here for you." Just be there. Just be.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be there. And I think that's important for people to know. If you're not going through issues yourselves, you may know someone that's
Yeah.
having struggles, and then that's important for them to know how to handle or how to be there for the person. So
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's we need to know that. But Mr. Smallwood, that's not all of who you are. You are indeed a
Thank
legend in
you.
gospel music. And I personally think the term legend is spoken very loosely. Everybody is not a legend in my book, but I certainly believe that you are. And I wanted to ask you, do you consider yourself a legend?
Oh no. I just been doing this a long time. Like you said, over 40 years, probably on the way head towards 50. And it's just something that I've always loved to do. It's something that gives me joy. It's something I'm called to do. So I don't look at it as a legend. I don't. It's just I just do all I know what to do. That's all I know how to do. So that's what I do, you know. And I just thank God that He's kept me through it so I can still do what I was doing 20, 30 years ago. You know, that's a blessing because, you know, some of my friends are no longer here, started out, and then there's some who just, for whatever reason, aren't doing it anymore. And for me to just to still be able to do that, because I don't. If I couldn't do that, I don't know. I don't know what I'd do because it's just part of my life. I've been doing it really technically since I was a teenager. You know, I was a student at Howard, so you know, I don't consider myself a legend. No, I just consider myself somebody who's blessed, fortunate, and who's fortunate enough to do what they love to do.
Yes, and you certainly are blessed, and I think the music that you make transcends time, and it does because of your lyrics, and the lyrics live on and live on. Like, tell me about the process that when you made Trust Me, because I play that song. Trust Me has gotten me through some things. So tell me where you were in your life when you wrote that.
My mom had passed, and my mom was my life. I grew up as an only child, although I wasn't an only child. But that's a whole other story. But I grew up as an only child, and she was my twin. You know, I look just like her. I act like her. And the older I get, I look in the mirror. I look like my mother with a mustache and a goatee. But when she left, it shattered my entire world. And I didn't write any music for about 3 years, maybe. And one of the first songs I did write, I started to work on the recording Promises. And one of the first songs I wrote was Trust Me. And it was like God was talking to me. He was like, you know, Mom's gone, but she's all right. She's fine. And one of the things she told me before she left, she said, you're going to be just fine. She was 90. I was 91 when she left. And she told me, she said, God has taken care of me all these many years. He's going to take care of you. And He has done that. And so God was just reminding me, I think, you know, I got this. Yeah. Trust me. You know who I am? I'm Alpha, I'm Omega. Listen, I created you. I created the universe. I got this. Just trust me. Stop. Don't take the burden upon yourself. Give it to me. You know? So that's really where that song sort of came from.
Awesome. And you can feel the passion in that, and you can feel. I just love the song. What about Angels?
Angels. In 1995, I started Vision, my group, and we were getting ready to do our first album, Adoration, and I was writing music for it. It was a really difficult time. Then Mom was sick, but not into death. But she was sick during that time, and she went into foster care. Taking care of foster kids when I was about 19. So one of my little foster brothers had a complete nervous breakdown at the same time. And then my godbrother was terminally ill. My godbrother died. And that was hard. That was devastating. And it was like I could hear him saying, Rich, look, I'm all right. We watching over you. You know, we got, you know, we see, listen, the physical body is not here anymore, but we're somewhere else. We're on another level, you know, we're in the heavenlies, and we got this. And the song Angels just came to me.
Watching over me.
Watching over me.
Angels watching over me.
Yeah.
Awesome. See, the song has more meaning now when you know where it came from. You know what I mean? It really helps. It ministers. The song just ministers. And then Total Praise is the anthem. Total Praise is the anthem, and you were just on Sunday Best, right?
Yeah.
And had the group there singing Total
Right.
Praise. And how was that like?
Oh, it was fun.
It was fun.
It was different because I had never done a virtual performance before. And this is all new to me. Listen, I used to stand flat-footed on the stage.
Of course.
Let God have the glory. And so, we were all in different locations. I couldn't use all my group, but I used 9 of them. And we were all at our different homes, singing over our phones. And so to put our thing together was just, I love the way it came out, but it was a little scary. But I'd never done anything like that before, but it's the new abnormal until we get out of this situation where we are,
Yeah.
And like, listen, when I say I've been quarantined, I have been quarantined.
You've been quarantined, Mr. Smallwood.
I have not been out this hot house since March.
And I saw that. That on you posted that on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And every once in a while, I go back and I check on you. I'm like, Mr. Smallwood has not been out the house.
I'm going to take my dog out and to go to the mailbox. That's it, because it was very bad in Prince George's County where I am. Very, very bad. And the numbers were really, really bad. And, I'm in a certain age group, and I deal with hypertension, which is a pre-existing condition. I was like, I'm not going to go out here. No. So I haven't been, I think the first time I'll go out is when I go out to pre-vote.
Okay.
I've already got my mask and I've got a shield. Listen, I'm gonna be ready. Ready. That'll probably be the first. I think our early voting starts in October the 10th, I think. Okay. And I'm ready for that. But that will be probably the first time that I really, really go out like past the block. I ain't playing.
I know you're not playing, Mr. Smallwood. You're not playing. But look, what about that was fun. You said that the Sunday Best was so much fun. And so what do you think the future of gospel music looks like? What do you think that's going to be?
I'm hoping this will pass. I mean, I know it will pass at some point. I'm not sure when it will, because I'm ready to get back the way we do things, concerts and stuff like that. Funny, our governor said that we were going to phase 3 in this area. And I'm like, look, which means they're going to start doing concerts, but with smaller audiences, and they'll open the theater. I'm like, I'm at phase 0.
Right.
I'm gonna peep out my door and see how y'all doing. Y'all be well. Y'all call me when it's over. But I'm hoping, because I really miss ministering. I really, really do in a in an audience kind of setting. But until now, we're going to have to. The most important thing now is keeping ourselves safe and our family safe. So we got to do what we got to do to stay safe. But thank God, because of technology and things that were certainly not available when I was first started out, we can do what we did on Sunday Best, and I think that's what we're gonna have to do until times get better.
Yeah. I just saw Sunday the Clark sisters had a virtual concert. So you really have to be creative and innovative.
You really do. And like I said, and just like I haven't been out, no one is coming to this house. So I've got my vision family. We have Zooms every now and then because we haven't seen each other this year, basically, probably since January. And I told them, y'all can't come in my house.
I love y'all, but y'all can't come here.
Y'all can't come in here. Listen, my brother brought me some food for Easter. His wife would cook. He knew. He left it on the porch. He got back in the car and called me and said, check your front door. I left something for you. Nobody's coming in here. No. So until something breaks, we're gonna have to do the virtual thing and just be safe. I think that's so important that we be safe. We've lost too many people. We've lost so many.
Yeah. It is a serious time, and we have to be innovative and creative. And there's so many new talents, and there's so many people coming behind you, and you're
Sure.
such an inspiration to so many. What advice would you give to the new talents that are coming?
I would say the main thing is to be unique.
Unique.
Yeah.
Can you say that? Can you say that in the mic?
Don't be a carbon copy.
Don't be a carbon copy.
I mean, and we all, like I heard my friend Shirley Caesar say one time that we all stand on the shoulders of somebody else.
Yes.
Somebody that influenced us. I can think of the influences that I had, but I couldn't become them. Mm-hmm. What I did was take the inspiration from what they did in terms of their music, took it and put my thing on it and made it mine, so I would come out sounding like somebody else. So I think that's one thing that we're missing today is uniqueness. I don't hear like any future pioneers who are coming along and changing the game. Just doing something different. Like, oh wow, that's different. And I think a lot of times the problem is because those who are on label, they're afraid to take a chance. So they're like, so and so had a hit and that sounded good. So why don't you write something like so and so did? But that's not the way it's done. I mean, everybody is an individual. God gives all of us individual and unique gifts. It's so important that we use those and be unique, be different.
Yeah, and own it. It's okay not to sound like somebody else.
So very okay.
It's okay to sound different. I think that's what it is. I think when they hear it, they hear themselves, they go, oh, that sounds so funny. It doesn't sound like someone else. But that's what we want. We want the different.
That's what we need.
Exactly right.
More innovative and more creative. That's what I came up on. It's like if you heard you listen to the radio and you heard a recording, the first 3 or 4 bars, you knew who it was. They had their own brand, their own sound. They didn't sound like nobody else, and that's what I think is sort of missing now.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm just going to say this little thing. I was listening to a show, and someone that I won't even say was singing, and I was listening to it. Wasn't watching it, and I really thought it was another group.
Okay.
And when I went to the screen and I saw it was someone totally different, I thought it was someone else, but they sounded to me exactly the same.
Yeah. It's so important, because that's what makes music interesting. That's what makes it like, oh wow, that's nice. I wish I'd have thought of that. It's really I sort of miss that. Like I said, we're all inspired. I was majorly inspired by the Hawkins, especially Edwin when I was in college, about 18 or 19 years old. And I was doing an interview earlier, and I was telling somebody that when I go back and listen to my early writings when I first started, it was like I was trying to be Edwin. Some of the early stuff sounds so much like it. But what I had to do as a young person is learn how to take that inspiration in and put that in the foundation and then put Richard in the mix.
Yeah.
So it became mine because we're all byproducts of those who come before us. They're our inspirations.
Yeah. Awesome. And did you know that there's a playlist on YouTube with 69 Richard Smallwood songs?
Really? I didn't know that.
69 Richard Smallwood songs. That's not even your whole catalog.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
How many songs would you say you have recorded?
I have no idea.
That's why you're a legend.
I think it was the 14 albums or 15 albums.
15 album.
I think it's maybe 15. So
that's a catalog, sir.
But you know, as far as how many songs I've written, there are many songs that I never even recorded. When I first started writing, I had a little green notebook, and I used to write down the titles of the songs. And I found it not long ago. And I was looking at some of the titles. I was like, how did that go? I didn't even put it down. Thinking I would remember it, you know. But I have no idea how many songs.
Yeah. So please tell me and us that you've been writing while you've been quarantining, that you've been inspired and you've been.
That's what everybody's thinking and hoping. But you know,
not so.
A musician friend of mine said it very, very eloquently, and I hadn't really thought about it because I was getting nothing, and this whole thing with the racism has been very traumatizing to me. And a friend of mine he's a brilliant writer, brilliant musician, said it's hard to create when you're traumatized. And I was like, yeah, you know, because you're taking in all this stuff, and a lot of people use that to write. I'm not that way, although there's sometimes, you know, difficult situations will make me write, but this has been overwhelming. You know, 2020, it really just get beyond this to go to 20. If I could just skip the rest of it and hopefully 2021 will be better. It's just been so traumatic, and I haven't really had any inclination to write. I was telling somebody earlier, I'm a very sporadic writer. So sometimes I'll go 3 or 4 years without even writing. You know. So it's been probably about 3 years now. And everybody, all my friends keep saying, "Oh, I know you're quarantined up in that house in the summer." You know, I can't write if the inspiration doesn't come. You know, I just didn't sit down and say, "Oh, let me see how this." It's like it's hard to explain. It's a process. It's like I know when it's time to write. I can feel it. I can feel it here. I can feel it here. If that's not there, I can sit at the piano forever and nothing will come out. Nothing will satisfy me. When that feeling comes, okay, it's time. Stuff will just start pouring out. But I haven't had one of those kinds of experiences, you know, in a minute.
Yeah.
So you know, when God is ready,
yes,
just like He always does, you know.
Yes.
Say, okay, Richard, let's do this. You know, and I'm like, here I am. Let's do it. You know.
Yes. Listen. When He speaks, it's going to be a hit. Whatever it is, let God speak to you, sir. Let God speak, and it will be a hit. Are you working on anything? I know you're not writing, but are you working on any projects?
Not now. No. Getting ready to do some virtual performances in the fall, which we're just about at. So I'll be doing some things like that. Vision now will be doing some virtual things as well. So you'll probably see that on online and stuff like that, but not working on anything because I really, I had before this pandemic started, I had some music I was sort of working on. And when it started, it sort of just went out. But I did put it down. So when it's time, I'll pull that out and see what I can come up with. But I'm just chilling. I'm chilling, and really communicating with God because I sort of need Him to get me through this.
Yes,
as we all do. And my heart goes out to so many losses that I see. It's almost like when I turn on, and I'm a social media fanatic. My Instagram and my Facebook is everything to me. So, but it's like when I turn on Facebook, it's like an obituary. It just really, my heart just goes out to the losses that people have suffered. Thank God I haven't had any. I've had some, but they weren't close. Especially from this coronavirus. So, we all need to stay in prayer for each other. for our country. And
yes,
please, if there's nothing that you don't ever do in life, come November 3rd,
vote,
vote.
vote.
Vote as if your life depended on it, which it does.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm encouraging all my young people and everybody, if you haven't registered, register. This is needed. This is needed. So, like I said, that's gonna be the first time I go out because I don't trust the mail. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna put on my whole armor of God. I'm gonna put on my mask. I'm gonna put on the shield, and I'm going out there and do it in person. But yeah, that's important.
Yeah. So that sums it up right there. That is what we need to be focusing on. We need to be focusing on getting well, taking care of one another, and voting, because we need to vote like our life depends on it, because it does.
Absolutely.
Absolutely does. Mr. Richard Smallwood, thank you so much for stopping by. It was
my
a pleasure. Thank you. You just made you made my 2020.
Well, thank you.
You made my 2020. Listen, guys, you need to follow him on Facebook. I told you he's engaging. He talks back. If you say a comment, he'll reply back to you.
No.
So be well, sir. We love you, and thank you again.
And God bless everybody who's listening or watching. I love you. Thank you for your support and all you've been to me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Make sure you all get the book. The book is on Amazon. The autobiography, Total Praise. It's on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And you already know his music. His music is everywhere. And you need to get it, young people. If you don't know Mr. Richard Smallwood, you are like sleeping. So make sure you get it. You have to read the book. I'm halfway through it. I'm almost to the end.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
It really, really is a page turner. Once you get started, you're like, okay, Mrs. Smallwood. But thank you again, and we love you. Be well.
Thank you. You too. God bless.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Smallwood, Mr. Richard Smallwood. Listen, we want to make sure you all follow us, follow me, Harvest Magazine, and us on social media, all the social media platforms. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We want to make sure that you follow us. We're going to be having doorbell Instagram interviews. People are just going to be popping up on our Instagram, and all kinds of celebrities, all kinds of gospel music artists. You need to follow us as well on Instagram. You never know who's going to be stopping by. We're also going to be on the radio. I've been asked to be the co-host of a radio show, Gospel 88.7 FM and 100.3 FM. It's in the New Jersey, PA, Delaware-ish area. Drop time 5 to 7, starting this Friday. You don't want to miss it. It's 88.7, 100.3 FM, and we'll be featuring new artists, new gospel artists. So if you are a new artist or you know a new artist, you need to tell them to hit me up. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for watching. And thank you. Good night, switches.